bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
North Alabama is full of adventure. If you love food, we've got it. If you love festivals, we've got them. If you love the outdoors, we've got plenty of places to explore. Whatever you love, we're sure to have something for you. For all things North Alabama, check out northalabama.org.
Don't just throw a tailgate. Own the tailgate with a Bojangles Big Bow Box. Because only Bojangles puts tailgate-ready fresh, never frozen, honey barbecue or buffalo bone-in wings with fall-off-the-bone juiciness right in the pocket. The only way to make these wings any better? With some made-from-scratch buttery biscuits, flavorful fixins, and freshly steeped legendary iced tea. So let the quarterback do the throwing, you do the winning. Because how can you expect to win the game if you don't win the tailgate? Bojangles, it's bow time.
With a house surrounded by pine trees planted in 1961, April and I knew it was time to do something about it. So we called James Paul. With over 25 years in the business, James Paul Tree Service offers their knowledge and experience, along with honesty and dependability, which gives you peace of mind when it comes to tree removal, tree cleanup, and clearing. Give James Paul a call at 256-777-0711.
Before they fall, give James Paul a call.
Boutique Air in Muscle Shoals, Alabama offers direct flights to Atlanta and Pensacola. Boutique Air service runs twice daily, 7 days a week, with fares starting at $59. Follow Boutique Air Muscle Shoals on Facebook at Boutique Air MSL and book your flight through boutiqueair.com. Boutique Air,
where you can fly private for the cost of commercial.
Hey everybody, this is Daryl Worley, and you're listening to The Mark White Show. Hey, step up and make a difference like he does.
Hey y'all, this is Jeff Foxworthy, and you can make a huge difference in somebody's life. You just may not have figured out how yet, and that's why you're listening to The Mark White Show.
Hi, this is Maggie Peterson. I played Charlene Darling on The Andy Griffith Show, and you are listening to The Mark White Show.
Hi folks, this is Ricky Skaggs, and you're listening to The Mark White Show.
Hello, I'm Gene Stallings, and this is The Mark White Show. Get off the sideline and get involved and make a difference in your community.
You are listening to The Mark White Show. My daddy is your host, Mark White.
Do something good today.
I hope you all had a great close of the last year, 2021. Now we are in 2022. This is the first new show of the year for the Mark White Show, and I'm happy to have my friend Jake Jeanson on the line with me with the Riverside. December 31st, when the clock struck midnight, they had a new album, and it's called Mythos and Petra. Welcome to the Mark White Show, Jake Jeanson.
Good to be back, Mark. Love the Mark White Show.
Always glad to have you, and I appreciate the fact that you are keeping me in the loop, as I said in a text message. Whenever you have something that's being released, I'm glad that you're sharing it with me so that I can turn around and share it with our listeners.
Yeah, that's fun. I'm honored that you want to share the music with people. I just share it to you because I like you. But it's cool that I get to also share it with your community. So thank you.
For people who don't know Jake, I actually saw a sponsored ad on Instagram. This has been a couple of years ago. I sent a message to your page and said, hey, I like what you're doing. Do you want to come on the Mark White Show? And that's how we began talking. So those sponsored ads, sometimes they work out. I heard the music, I liked it, and we've been talking ever since.
Yeah, I'd say the Instagram and Facebook ads have been probably my favorite part of social media. I know people kind of, social media can be kind of a rather weird place, but I feel like God's really just blessed me with the ability to use it to reach out, and it just connected me with so many cool people, such as yourself. It's been really instrumental in spreading our music, and so I'm grateful that it worked out this way.
Oh, I think it's great. And one of the things I was thinking about earlier, where does the Riverside and this music make a difference? When I think about music and the impact that it can have on a person, there's something special about music. Music has a special effect, and I think that's where it does make a difference, is how we feel when we hear music like what you are putting out at the Riverside.
Yeah, I would say music is a thing that I think the whole world shares in. It's like kind of I heard the phrase, it's a common grace that everyone gets to enjoy. And our music is folk music, so I think it's very down to earth, very understandable to most people's ears. I think that's why I like it. I feel like it really pulls at people's heartstrings. I've had lots of people, even like from the ad even that we have running, people sometimes will message me and say, hey, I don't normally listen to this kind of music, but you've kind of made me into a listener, and I really like what I'm hearing, and it feels so different, and it feels warm, and I find that pretty encouraging.
Sometimes I picture myself loading up the car and I'm just riding out west and I'm listening to your music. That's the way it makes me feel, like I'm just kind of free. I can just hit the road, and something you could listen to for hours.
Yeah, like you're kind of going on a journey.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, I like that.
And you all finished your touring journey last year. I remember the last few dates that you had before the holidays, and so you closed out 2021. How did it go?
It was really fun. It was such a good year. It was exhausting. It was the most shows we've ever done so far. We did, and also we had a baby in the same year. So on top of being new parents, we still did about, at least I did. My wife did about half the shows because she's also an awesome mom. So she had her plate really full, and this is how I've decided to try to provide for the family. So I did about 120 shows this year. And so that's for the listeners, that's about 4 months straight of shows. So that's like a show every day. So equivalent of 120 days, because there's 120 shows. So it can be pretty exhausting, especially because I really want to put on a good performance and really connect with people and tell people about the songs. I just don't want it to be a thing, I don't want to walk through the motions. I really want to show my heart of the song and why I wrote it and what I think it's about. And so yeah, I kind of go a little bit too hard at times. I get a little too exhausted, I think. But this year I'm looking forward to doing the same thing, but maybe scheduling a little more rest days so I can recover and do the job more efficiently and healthily, I'd say. If healthily is a word.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Jake, it's very similar for me because like you, I'm a creator and I can push myself too hard. And I know that towards the end of the year, I really needed rest and didn't realize it because I get hyper-focused on what I'm doing through the Mark White Show, and between doing interviews and editing and uploading and working on this show hours and hours a day, it really does take its toll on you. And I would find myself a lot of times staying up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning working on the show and just trying to get it done, because being one person trying to create in this way, it can be exhausting.
Yeah, I really understand that, Mark, because when you're doing this sort of thing, I'd consider you an artist as well, where it's like no one is, we're kind of our own bosses. No one is telling us when we should do things or how, but we also know that we have to grow and we have to provide for the family. So we got to put in a lot of hard work. And there's not a lot of, besides my wife saying, "Hey, honey, it's like 4 a.m. and you've worked on the new album for, 8 hours now. I think you can come to bed." And I'm like, "No, I have to finish." So I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to be more healthy. I'm trying to, I guess, just be more mindful with my time and not be too hyper focused on the thing I'm doing, because then it turns into something that is almost like I'm spending too much. It's like a good thing that turns into a obsession.
Yes.
And that's not where my mind should be. I should be focused on, well, for me, on my relationship with God and my marriage. And also I have a son now, so I want to be a good dad. I tell you, being a dad has been changing me a lot, and just realizing in my own, not drugs or anything, but my own addictions that I go to, for satisfaction, realizing, oh man, there's still big parts of my heart that go to other things instead of, resting and or going and just spending time with my wife or son. There's just lots of things that I'm seeing and being changed by. So I hope that made sense. I'm on a walk right now at my in-laws' house. They live on some property in Humboldt County, which is the redwood trees in Northern California, and I'm kind of doing laps around their house while I'm talking to you. So, just letting my mind to roll, I guess.
Well, it does make complete sense to me, Jake, and I understand completely where you're coming from. And I don't know, I guess a lot of people who are creative in that way, they find alternatives to what they feel like is balancing their life, and it may not be balancing in the way that they think it is. And of course, as you mentioned, when you have a family and other commitments, then to balance that with what you're passionate about, which is truly your work, then you have to start thinking, okay, I've got to also take my attention and my time and put it on these other very valuable things, which to you would be your wife and your child and your family. And then, of course, your music comes in there because, yes, you have to provide an income. You have to be able to live and take care of that wife and child. At the same time, there's that balance. And so finding that balance can be tricky for some people, and I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what life is, I think. It's kind of a puzzle piece of where you put your priorities and why.
As a police officer, I've seen people who weren't satisfied with their life and it came to an end, and I've seen people who were satisfied with their life and it came to an end, and I so want to be the latter.
Yeah, that's some stuff to think about. I think about that a lot. I also just know about all the ways, and sometimes it can be overwhelming when you think of all the ways in which you failed or messed up. And when you're thinking about that, and I mean, that's why I put my trust in Jesus with my life, because I rely on his goodness. And I just go, all right, I'm not perfect, but why am I living my life? Why am I alive? Why am I living my life? And where do I go from here? When I'm moving forward with that trust in God. I feel like I'm not necessarily relying on my own. It's stressful trying to rely on myself, because I'm just like, man, I just don't got it together. But I'm gonna do what I can and kind of put my security in. I guess you've heard that phrase where you're building your foundation on solid ground and not sinking sand, you know?
Yes.
And because when this life comes and brings us storms and troubles, am I resting on my own thing which I built? Because if so, that better be pretty perfect. But I know myself, and I think everyone could admit that we all have our mistakes, we all have our things. But when you're trusting in solid ground and you're building your house in solid ground, there's promises of God that say that your house might be shaken, but it's not going to fall, because you built on a solid ground. I guess that's the thing is, is what are you living for, and what's the truth, and I'm just seeking after truth.
Makes me think of two different messages I've heard in my life is make your mess your message, and then also fail forward. We don't fail backward, we fail forward. And so we're going to make mistakes. And so moving forward, we take our failures with us. We don't leave them behind. We carry them with us, but it's what we do with those experiences that makes the difference.
Yeah, you can't control what happened in the past. You can only look at what's going on now and saying, all right, I'm gonna move forward with this. And with whatever I have left, I'm gonna build my house on the stone, So that's good. I
exactly.
Like that
right now, folks, we're talking to my friend Jake Jeanson with the Riverside. They have a new album that came out at the stroke of midnight, December 31st, as we entered the new year, called Mythos and Petra. I hope that you'll stick with us as I continue to talk to Jake. We're going to talk about this album. We're going to talk about touring for 2022, where they're headed, and I hope you'll stick with us. You are listening to The Mark White Show, and I'm your host, Mark White.
Well, I've heard you now, and it's unlike before. When I was out in the fields, but now you're at my door. Well, have things grown from these little seeds? A love for you that has grown to the trees.
Don't just throw a tailgate, own the tailgate with a Bojangles Big Bow Box. Because only Bojangles puts tailgate-ready fresh, never frozen, honey barbecue or buffalo bone-in wings with fall-off-the-bone juiciness right in the pocket. The only way to make these wings any better? With some made-from-scratch buttery biscuits, flavorful fixins, and freshly steeped legendary iced tea. So let the quarterback do the throwing, you do the winning. Because how can you expect to win the game if you don't win the tailgate? Bojangles, it's bow time.
North Alabama is full of adventure. If you love food, we've got it. If you love festivals, we've got them. If you love the outdoors, we've got plenty of places to explore. Whatever you love, we're sure to have something for you. For all things North Alabama, check out northalabama.org.
Experience the difference at Athens Bible School. The vision and purpose is to provide each student a quality education in a Christ-centered environment to develop the whole person spiritually, mentally, physically, and socially in safe and supportive surroundings. The solid biblical foundation permeates learning and culture in the classrooms and every extracurricular activity.
With over 25 years in the business, James Paul Tree Service offers their knowledge and experience, along with honesty and dependability, which gives you peace of mind when it comes to tree removal, tree cleanup, and clearing. Give James Paul a call at 256-777-0711.
Before they fall, give James Paul a call.
Mr. Cecil Batchelor is the one that started this business as Dependable Service Center. And even though now it's Green's Dependable Hardware and we're a True Value store, our tagline is still Your Dependable Service Center. We've tried to keep that alive for all these years. Mr. Batchelor really started a good business. We're really excited to be carrying on a long-standing tradition. It's the oldest retail store in the city of Russellville. We're Green's Dependable Hardware, 15220A Highway 43 in Russellville, Alabama. We're right behind McDonald's or right across the street from the hospital. Number is 256-331-0123.
Your Dependable Service Center.
Hi, I'm Crystal Gale, and you're listening to The Mark White Show. And one smile can make a difference. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Someone loves you, I do.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above, ye heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
Welcome back to the Mark White Show. I'm glad that you can be with us today, and great music here on the Mark White Show. I always enjoy being able to have this guest on the line with me. His name is Jake Jeanson, and he is with the Riverside. Always a pleasure to have Jake on the line with me. Folk music, I love it. I enjoy their music. I reached out to them a couple of years ago when I saw a sponsored ad and said, hey, I like what you're doing. Would you like to come on the Mark White Show? And me and Jake have been talking ever since. I think this is probably the third time that Jake has been on the Mark White Show. Happy New Year, my friend.
Thank you. Happy 2022 to the Mark White Show and all of you listeners. I hope you're having a good year so far.
I know it's exciting to be able to release a new album. We talked about in the last segment how much work it takes and the hours, the dedication to be able to produce an album like this. And then you planned it out for the release at midnight, December 31st, 2021, moving into 2022, something new for all of your followers, for my listeners. How did it make you feel to be able to release that album at the time you did?
Oh, it was the first time that we released, it was cool. The album was done and I was like, when's a good time to release this? And I'm kind of a big fan of consistency. You can kind of tell in the artwork. I do the art, and all the artwork is pretty consistent, like in its, I guess you could say, in its flavor.
Yes.
Or in its whatever a good other term for flavor is. I guess it's the theme of the artwork. So I really like that. When you're looking up all the albums, you could see, each year has a new album. So I was like, well, I got to release it in 2022, but it's already done. So what's the quickest way to release it in 2022? And I said, well, we released it on New Year's Day. So it's, we did well this year timing wise. We really cranked out the album. It had a lot of, I guess scheduling just worked really well. So we had it all done nice and early, which I think is what it's just going to be the standard, I think, from now on. So I'm kind of in a songwriting phase right now. I'm about to start to record the new record for 2023. So
wow.
New Year's was a good day because it's a new year, new album. It was encouraging to see some of our followers on social media, say this is a great way to start off the new year. Or someone said with the 2022 is already, and then put the okay emoji. So I was like, sweet. At least we're making 2022 okay for people. So that's good.
Jake, when we're producing, when we're creating, I always have an idea of what I'm hoping to accomplish. Just like in this interview, I hope that people listen to the messages contained within it. I hope that it helps them in their life. I hope that it encourages them, it inspires them, and makes a difference. when you're writing your songs and you complete an album, what is it that you really hope to accomplish with the release of Mythos and Petra?
One, I think that we're all created with different passions that God gives us. And for some reason, when God was forming me, he put a little dose of songwriting, I guess. I just had this sense, even when I was a kid, or when I hear music that inspires me, I get this feeling, and I just get this feeling in my chest. It just makes me pray, really, and I just say, God, whatever this feeling is that I have about this music, I want to create this for people, and I want my music to draw people towards you, and I want people to, I guess my overall thing is I want to give glory to God, and I want to make music that not necessarily, I don't, I am a believer in Jesus, a Christian, but I think sometimes Christian has a weird connotation these days. It really just means a follower of Jesus. I don't think every song has to explicitly say anything like that. I think that I like making art. I like making stuff where I can glorify God, but it doesn't necessarily have to be so explicit. I like people to go on a journey and to listen to, I guess, the poetry and let God speak to them through it, not necessarily me just forcing it in people's face. And I do end a lot of the albums with a hymn, because I really love the theology, and I'm kind of a Bible nerd myself, so I do like the classic old hymns, the old American hymns and stuff, because hymns were just a way to kind of teach. It was when people couldn't read very well, in the olden days. They're like, all right, we got to teach people about God through music. So I think that's kind of a cool idea. And well, music is music, and I love it, and I love those old-fashioned hymns. So I add one of those in there every now and then, and I try to do my best to keep the topics about stuff that's relevant to the human heart and our experience, at least my experience with God, and that's what this album is about. It's sort of about there's a verse in the Bible that talks about when we put our trust in God and our trust in Jesus, really, and we rely on Him and not ourselves. He says He'll take the heart of stone within us and turn it into a heart of flesh, and basically saying, you'll actually be able to learn, you actually understand and learn how to love the right way, not out of any selfishness, because I feel like humans know how to love and do good things, but a lot of the times some of those reasons are tainted by selfishness and different things. Only God knows people's hearts, but this is just an album of just being like, man, I'm ready for, there's a song called Sporos, which I think would be cool if you played for them. It's just about starting to understand more of this, and just realizing how hardened your heart is, and just saying, man, I need to learn how to, this is hard. This life is hard, and I want to know more about God, and I want to love the right way, and just kind of saying, I'm telling God that I'm ready for this season. I'm ready for my season to change. I'm ready for my heart to change. I'm ready to just live differently, to just be different, and to see things differently. And I think that's a good theme for starting a new year as well.
Absolutely. That's what I was just thinking about as people make what they call resolutions. And I tell people, today is the day that we have. We're not guaranteed 2022. We're not guaranteed 2023. Each day is what we have.
Not even tomorrow.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Not even guaranteed tomorrow.
Yes. And so the resolution needs to be right now in this moment. Whatever you're doing that maybe is counterproductive or something that you're not proud of, then this is the moment to say, I want to do differently. And it doesn't matter if you only had 8 hours of life left to do differently. That's 8 hours of valuable time that you committed to something that you can be proud of and be happy that you were able to do that. And some people only have a few hours. Once they make a determination that they're going to change, that's the way of life. Is part of life is death. And so you may have months, you may have years to do whatever that change is that has happened within you, or you may have minutes or hours. But the main thing is that we as humans decide that we want to do something worthwhile, that we want to change directions sometimes and make adjustments and better our lives as well as the lives of those around us.
Yeah, and going off that, I'm also encouraged, because I am a Bible nerd, so something that Jesus said, where he says only talking about faith, and sometimes it can feel daunting. It's like, well, what do I do? And Jesus talks about having faith like a mustard seed, which is one of the smallest of seeds, and yet when it grows, it turns into a tree where birds nest in its branches. And he also says, with even the smallest amount of faith, you can tell a mountain to uproot itself and throw itself into the sea. And I think that that's really cool, that that God will work with even the smallest of things that you give him, you know? And I think that's really cool. It's encouraging to me, so I just wanted to say it.
No, I like that, and I appreciate that, Jake. And I want to talk about where you all are going from here. I know last year with your touring, as you mentioned, your wife was able to do about half, and you were able to commit to all of those 120 days that you were able to go and tour. And then you also talked about being able to balance your time. What are you looking at in 2022 as far as getting out there and sharing your music with others?
Awesome. Yeah, so I think the plan, Lord willing, is to do, I want to do 150 shows. It's kind of the number I have in my head. So that's approximately, 5 to 6 months of touring. So we're gonna do like a big tour in the Northwest. So about Oregon, Washington, so California, Oregon, Washington, maybe some Montana and Idaho. That's for about 2 months, and then we're gonna come home, take a rest. Then we're gonna do a middle of the country tour. So like we're gonna start in like Utah and Colorado and make our way to the Midwest and do East Coast for 2 months. Maybe hit up the South a little bit too on our way back through. I think we're gonna be in like North Carolina. I think we have one date in North Carolina set for I think somewhere in September, or no, in August, the end of August. So we're gonna be in the South around that, and then we're gonna go home for a month, and then we're gonna do our Southwest tour, which we usually do a Southwest tour through Southern California, Arizona, and Texas to end the year. And that's usually about the month of November. And then we always end about on Thanksgiving. And then we put out our new album, and then we do it over again. So that's kind of the plan.
One of the things that's special about the Riverside that I've seen you all do is go and do these intimate concerts where somebody has you there, and they may have a group of people that are wanting to enjoy your music, but it is a interesting setting to be able to do it that way.
It's honestly the best. It would be way too exhausting if we were playing, 3 hours a day, because we have to work a lot because we're not the biggest band, and it is art, and getting people to pay you for art, surprisingly, is kind of hard sometimes. So, you work out your guarantees with people, and just kind of move in faith that it's going to be okay, and kind of with the idea that money isn't everything. Money is not everything, and but reaching people and connecting with people is. So we kind of move forward with that mentality. We get to share with people. We get to play about an hour a day. We keep our set length very very concise. We like to play about an hour, and we like to talk about the songs, and we like to connect with people. So a lot of times it can be as small as 10 people. It can be as big as 100. And usually we like people to be seated and kind of gathered around, kind of like I guess, the Riverside story time, I guess. And we like to talk about our songs and play our music for basically the host and their community. So that's kind of that's kind of our model. We like to have someone host us in a region of the country, and they invite all their friends and all their music loving friends and their family and their community. And then we just put on an intimate show where we get to connect with them. And then after the music, we play some background music and just get to hang out and eat some good food, and talk with people about our stories and our life and just stuff that's going on, I really like to talk to people about their life and and God. And I think the really important stuff that I think matters, because I think music is really nothing without the heart behind it, and the soul behind it. So I like to get to the heart and soul matters of people.
North Carolina's still a good little ways from Alabama, but you're always welcome.
Yeah, we usually play a couple shows in Atlanta, so I think we're going to be in Atlanta at some point. We've played a show in Tuscaloosa before.
I remember that.
We've played a couple Alabama shows, but I think we're just starting to get people interested kind of in I would say Alabama's part of the deep South, right?
I agree.
Like
yes.
Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. I feel like those are the states that we've gone to the least, besides like North Dakota, I feel, we've played one show in Maine. So, we're just starting to go to the outskirts, I feel like, of the country, but for the most part, I feel like we have a lot of work in kind of more of like the major music cities. I mean, I know there's music in Alabama, but I just mean like, at least for folk music, I feel like, we're not too country. I mean, we're not so country where people in Alabama are knocking on our doors wanting us to come, because we're not quite the country band, but then we're also not quite the bluegrass band either. We're kind of like a storytelling folk band.
Yes.
So I don't really know what we are, but we just do it. So there we go.
What you're doing with your folk, you're telling stories, I think it does resonate with more people probably than you would imagine. So I know there are places where you would definitely be embraced.
Awesome. That's good to know. Hey, so I have a surprise. My wife is standing here. I was thinking about giving her one of my earbuds. You mind if she hops on and says hello? Would you like to
go
talk
right
to her for a
ahead?
second?
Lorien, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Glad that you can jump on for the very first time here on the Mark White Show.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the new baby.
Thank you so much.
Growing as fast as you thought would happen?
Yeah, it just goes by so quickly.
Yes. Well, me and Jake have talked a lot about that since I have a daughter who just turned 8 years old. I know exactly how the view is from birth to now, and me and my wife were talking about it. It just doesn't seem like 8 years has gone by, but it has. She's in the second grade, but here turning 8 years old is pretty amazing to watch how quickly these little people grow.
Yeah, I can't imagine Levi being like a kid yet, he's just crawling and babbling, and it's so much fun.
The fun has just begun.
I know. I've just been enjoying like every stage of it.
Well, and it sounds to me like with the way the touring has gone for Jake, you being able to stay at home, be able to be a mother, that's just been a really great opportunity for you while Jake is out there trying to make a living and continue to get the music out there.
Yeah, we've been making it work so far. So it's just, I think any parent has to adapt a lot to making their life look more sacrificial, adapting to the next stage and the next challenge. And we're doing that too. So
we definitely take on new responsibilities when we have those children, don't we?
Yeah, it's worth it.
Exactly. Well, what are your plans for 2022 since you were able to be a mom for a great majority of 2021 and now going into 2022? What do you hope to see happen?
I've just begun to think about it. I tend to process things slowly. One of my goals, I guess, is to teach Levi to sleep better on his own, to, work on my reading list. I'd like to get back into running. So I don't know. Those are some of my goals, I guess. I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it answers the question because it's about you and what your goals are. Now, on December 31st at midnight, me and Jake were talking about this. So let me kind of picture this. Were you and Jake together as the album's being released?
Yeah.
How did that make you feel at the same time to know, okay, at midnight, we're going to release this album and it's going to go to the world? How was that experience for you?
I'm in Northern California with my family right now, so I have to say I was a little preoccupied just with being with the family. But I was also just leading up to the release, had been excited to get it out there. It's always exciting to release new music, and I'm really proud of Jake for working so diligently and just creating some really special, beautiful stuff that loved the process of creating it, of writing it, and seeing his vision and the themes all come together.
So how do you work out that schedule as a mom to say, okay, I can be here for this, I can't be here for that, to plan out your schedule to be able to put an album together like this?
I just kind of have to follow Jake's lead a bit, and then just try and do what I'm capable of, and be in regards of like touring and whatever. It's a lot to balance, but we just have to work together and try and be on the same page.
Well, and speaking of together, there are more people involved with the Riverside. Let's talk just a minute about the others who are part of this special music group.
Yeah, we've got our friend Trey, who has been playing banjo with us, and he's our friend from college. He's a really great guy. Like, he is also writes his own songs that are awesome. And as we've been touring with him this year, he usually opens our set with a couple of his songs, which is so fun for all of us. We love his music and just what he brings to our band. And then we've got James playing the bass with us, and he's just a solid guy, hard worker. We like having him around. And our violinist, Chase, kind of took a break from the band, but we got him back, and we're so excited that he's playing with us again. He's recorded on all of our albums, and when I hear our recorded stuff, I'm just like so thankful that he's back again. We also have another friend who has toured with us a little bit when Chase was gone, our friend Becca, and she lives in Atlanta, and she's like a part of our band family, but doesn't always tour with us. But I just wanted to mention her as well, that we're just grateful for her and her friendship and musicianship with us. Then we've got Kristen Posey. We like to call her KP. She plays the cello, and she's just super talented as well. Super fun to be around. All of our band members just like bring so much fun and personality to. They're fun to travel with, and it's a good group.
I want to wish the Riverside all the best going into 2022, but I want to also wish you the best as a mom and Jake as a dad, that you can continue to grow as parents. So Levi's learning and you're learning, and it's a great responsibility, but at the same time, it's a very rewarding experience, and I hope that this is something that y'all are able to enjoy while trying to do this work as a music group as well.
Yeah.
Well, Jake, are you still with us? Thank you,
bye.
Lorien.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, that was perfect. That was perfect timing, Mark, because I got to put in some soup. So I got some warm soup waiting for me after the interview.
That was fun. I enjoyed getting to talk to Lorien there and talk about Levi a little bit and her take on the music business.
She's never been on the show, so I saw her through the window here, and I was like, oh, I'm going to, surprise Mark and get her on. So.
That's perfect. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk to you today, to talk about the album, which is Mythos and Petra, and I hope that people will find it on the platforms. Where all can they find this new album, Jake?
It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, and it's on YouTube, and it's on Amazon. Basically anywhere where you want to listen to music, if you just search The Riverside, you'll find us. And you got to put The Riverside, because if you just put Riverside, you will find a Polish metal rock band, and we are not them.
And then if people want to follow you on social media like I do, where do they go?
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at the Riverside Folk. So the @ symbol and then The Riverside Folk. So our band name is the Riverside, and folk music is the type of music we play. So the Riverside Folk. That's also our website. So you can find us at theriversidefolk.com.
Well, Jake Jeanson, you go enjoy that warm soup today. Always glad to have you here on the Mark White Show, and glad that Lorien could join us today, too.
Yes, sir. That was a fun interview. Thank you for talking with me about it and sharing some of your thoughts as well.
Absolutely. Folks, Jake Jeanson with the Riverside. I hope that you'll check them out. The new album, Mythos and Petra. Check it out. I'm going to be sharing some music here on the show today so you can hear some of the songs that they have released. I hope that you enjoy this as much as I do. Here on the Mark White Show, we're recognizing difference makers and sharing their stories to encourage and inspire, and I hope that you're encouraged and inspired by this show. If you are, please share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors. Let them know about the Mark White Show and what we're doing to make a difference in our community, around the country, and the world. I want you to follow the Mark White Show on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and also subscribe to the Mark White Show podcast via Apple iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Audio Boom, SoundCloud, Blueberry, YouTube, and TuneIn Radio. You have been listening to another edition of the Mark White Show, and this is Mark White, encouraging you to find your purpose by making a difference in someone's life today.
You now, and it's unlike before. When I was out in the fields, but now you're at my door. Well, have things grown from this mustard seed? A love for you that has grown to the trees.
Located in Tuscumbia, Alabama, the Alabama Music Hall of Fame honors Alabama's music achievers. You can even go into the recording studio and try out your talents as a singer. That's the Alabama Music Hall of Fame, located at 617 Highway 72 West in Tuscumbia, Alabama. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Give them a call at 256-381-4417. Check them out on the web at alamhof.org. Boutique Air in Muscle Shoals, Alabama offers direct flights to Atlanta and Pensacola. Boutique Air service runs twice daily, 7 days a week, with fares starting at $59. Follow Boutique Air Muscle Shoals on Facebook at Boutique Air MSL and book your flight through boutiqueair.com. Boutique Air,
where you can fly private for the cost of commercial.
Is it time for a haircut? Give my friend Philip Butler at Southwind Barbershop a call, located in Rogersville, Alabama. You can call him at 256-247-5658. Make an appointment or just walk in. That's Southwind Barbershop in Rogersville, Alabama. Thompson Roofing and Construction is a locally owned family business serving the North Alabama and Southern Tennessee area. They are a Better Business Bureau A+ member since 2011 and a GAF Master Elite Contractor. Give them a call at 256-952-3309 or check them out on the web at 256roofing.com. They offer free inspections.
Thompson Roofing and Construction.
You hear me, people, when I say, well, let's all do something good today.